Today I'm going to show you how to make peanut butter cup ice cream cake. You will need to start this recipe 2 days before you're going to eat it in an ideal situation. So, day 1, you need to make fudge sauce. Day 2, you're going to assemble the cake. Day 3, you eat it. The fudge sauce needs to be made ahead because it needs a good 8+ hours to really cool off and thicken up. Then the ice cream cake, you're gonna need the ice cream a bit softer to put in, so you're gonna need quite a few hours for it to reharden and the cake fully solidify. So that's why best practices are you start the cake 2 days before you need to eat it, and the 3rd day you enjoy. So yesterday I made the fudge sauce. Here's how I make it. To make this fudge sauce, you are going to need to combine in a pot 1 cup of whipping cream and 1/2 cup of white corn syrup. You are going to bring it to a boil on medium heat. Now, this ingredient is very important. I know some people may have a little bit of an issue with it, but this ingredient keeps the fudge sauce from freezing. So it's really important with an ice cream cake, because when someone puts their fork into it, they want it to go all the way down and not just get stuck with frozen chocolate. So please do not skip this ingredient. Now, once the cream and the sugar mixture come to a boil, you're going to remove it from the heat right away and stir in 1 1/4 cups of chocolate chips. I like to use a mixture of milk chocolate and semi-sweet, but if you only want one, choose semi-sweet. Okay, now we need to whisk the chocolate and the cream and sugar mixture together. Now, you're not gonna whisk just for a small period of time. It does take a couple minutes. We're not looking to have the chocolate just melted and combined into a ganache. We're also doing it long enough in order that the chocolate no longer appears grainy. So we have to keep whisking. You'll know it's finished and sufficient once you notice the chocolate ganache is silky and smooth in texture. Once it's smooth and silky, I'm just going to transfer it to a bowl and let it cool. As your ganache is cooling down, you'll want to come by and just give it a stir from time to time to release the heat that's trapped inside. You'll notice as it cools down as well that it transforms from this syrupy, runny chocolate to a thicker, stiffer consistency. Once it's fully cooled, cover it up and put it in the fridge for at least 6 to 8 hours. That is why I do prefer to do this chocolate fudge sauce the day before and not the same day that I make the ice cream cake. So 6 to 8 hours, preferably overnight, until you need it while you're assembling the ice cream cake. Here's the fudge sauce now. You can see it's a lot thicker. It's no longer like a syrup. This is the consistency we are wanting for this recipe. Before we start assembling our ice cream cake, you need to have a spring pan. Completely line it with parchment paper, otherwise the ice cream cake will stick to the bottom and the sides of the pan. And the reason why we want a spring pan is because we're going to need to open it up and to remove the cake. You can't cut it like a normal cake. So a spring pan is a must. Line it. If you don't have parchment paper, then you can use saran wrap. That works. It doesn't work as great as this. It's much easier to remove the parchment paper from the frozen cake versus the saran wrap, but it will work. So have your pan ready. You are gonna need 2 flavors of ice cream, peanut butter cup and vanilla. Take these out of the freezer and let them sit on your countertop for about 10 minutes before you're gonna make the cake. This will soften it a little bit without making it super runny. You are also going to need a package of Oreos and a rolling pin or a frying pan or a food processor, anything that will work to crunch these up and make them nice and fine. And last but not least, some mini peanut butter cups. I took about 12 and I cut them into quarters. This is going to be used to decorate the top of our cake. So we want that as well, but we won't need it till the very end. As you're waiting for your ice cream to thaw a little bit, now's the perfect time to get your Oreos ready. Because this recipe is not just the classic vanilla and chocolate ice cream cake, I am going to just use the outside pieces of the Oreos, not the cream center. When I make a traditional vanilla and chocolate, I do just crush these up whole because I find that the cream center, it adds a lot to the cake. But because there's already a lot going on with the chocolate and peanut butter, I just want the crunch of the cookie. So what you do is you just take the cookie apart and put the two cream centers together. And now you have a double stuffed Oreo to enjoy. Take your cookie parts and just place them in a Ziploc bag. Now we're going to take our rolling pin and crush up these Oreos. And now we'll just put them aside till later. Okay, let's build this cake. So we're going to start with the peanut butter chocolate layer first. Just take your ice cream scoop or spoon and go all around the bottom. Once it's all in, press it down and try to make it flat and smooth. Next up is the fudge sauce. We're going to use all of this except 2 tablespoons. We need to reserve some for the swirl on top. Like that. And spread it out, make it as even as possible. This fudge sauce now can just go back in the fridge till later. Next up are the Oreos. Once they're in, again, just spread them out so that they're laid evenly across the cake. You don't want one piece with a giant amount of Oreos and the next with none. All right, let's add the vanilla layer on top of all that. With this top layer, we will want it all smooth as much as we possibly can on top, just because we're not covering it up with sprinkles and hiding all the vanilla ice cream. So I'm just gonna use a spatula, and because the ice cream's quite soft, it does smooth out pretty easily. And there it is. I'm gonna place this back in the freezer now and let it fully set. It'll take about 6 to 8 hours. After it's set, I'm gonna remove it from the spring pan and we're gonna add the toppings. All right, it's been long enough and the cake is now set. I'm going to take it out of the spring pan and put it onto the plate. Sorry about my dishwasher. We've just had supper. So you're just going to peel the parchment paper away. It's quite a messy process. Now using a piece of paper towel, we're gonna flip the cake and get the bottom of the pan out. just like that. All right, now let's take that little bit of sauce that we left and just drizzle it along the top. Now I'm just going to put a bit in the middle to stick the cups, the Reese cups on. Time for the Reese cups. Just like that. All right, we're finished. I'm going to place this cake back in the freezer and just let the chocolate on top harden up, and then I'm going to wrap it up till tomorrow. Enjoy!